You don't need a mansion or a Hollywood name to leave behind a story that's more than just fame.
Me to need a will, just a family, or a cat plotting world domination. Welcome to Celebrity Estate Chaos, where we prove a lot of things. Like how estate chaos isn't just for millionaires with private islands, anyone with stuff, relatives, or that one weird collection you think nobody's fighting over. And chances are, they will.
Welcome, listeners, to The Deep Dive. Today, we're unraveling a truly compelling story. It's about an iconic Hollywood figure whose life, especially after retirement, took this really unexpected turn into a kind of post-mortem legal enigma. Our insights today, they come from a stack of sources. We've looked at articles like estate planning, the Gene Hackman fiasco, Gene Hackman's legacy, life, love, and estate challenges, also the Hackman legacy, a cautionary tale of estate planning, and, the will, the wife, and the missing plan, plus various expert pieces by Tina Jin. So our mission today, it's really to distill the core lessons from this real-life drama. We want to focus on how you can maybe protect your own family from similar chaos. It's just such a vivid illustration that planning isn't, just for the super rich.
Yeah. What's truly fascinating here is how this deeply held desire for privacy, which is completely understandable, right? How it can ironically become the very thing that sparks widespread confusion and, frankly, very public legal challenges for the people left behind. This story, it perfectly illustrates why meticulous planning isn't just like a convenience. It's really a profound act of care.
Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. Many of you, I'm sure, know Gene Hackman, two-time Oscar winner, a real force on screen. But his journey started way off the red carpet. He was born Eugene Allen Hackman, California, 1930. His childhood sounds like it was pretty tough. Notably, his father left when he was just 13. That's an event that, you have to imagine it fueled his lifelong drive. And maybe surprisingly for an actor, his early life involved significant military service. Get this, at just 16, Hackman actually lied about his age to enlist in the U.S. Marine Corps.
Wow, 16?
Yeah, served as a field radio operator, China, Hawaii, Japan. He was discharged in 1951. Then his acting career started to blossom. The breakthrough was Bonnie and Clyde in 1967, and then those iconic roles, the Oscars for The French Connection, Unforgiven. He officially retired 2004 with Welcome to Mooseport.
And if we connect this, to the bigger picture, Hackman's well-documented value for privacy, for a quiet retirement, that becomes a really critical thread in understanding the complexities that popped up later.
Right.
He was famously reclusive, rarely gave interviews, very few public appearances. He even, interestingly, designed and renovated homes. Some were even featured in Architectural Digest.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he quietly co-authored several historical fiction novels, too. So this deep-seated desire for privacy, it isn't just a personality trait. It's actually a key element in where the story goes.
So as Gene kind of retreated from the spotlight, there was one person who became the center of his, fiercely private world. His second wife, Betsy Arakawa. She was a talented classical pianist from Hawaii. Apparently, she met Hackman at a fitness center back in the mid-1980s. They got married in 1991, settled into this beautifully renovated Southwestern-style mansion in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And that's where they really cultivated this secluded life.
And it's important to note the family dynamic here, too. Betsy became a stepmother to Hackman's 3 children from his first marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Now, while his intense dedication to his career had, strained relationships with his kids, leading to periods of estrangement, there were signs of reconciliation later on, especially, it seems, with his daughters. This complex family structure, it's actually crucial to the drama that unfolds later, quite unexpectedly.
Okay, here's where this quiet life just takes a sudden, really heartbreaking turn.
Mm-hmm.
In early 2025, Gene Hackman, who was 94, and Betsy Arakawa, 64, were tragically discovered deceased in their Santa Fe home, days after anyone had last heard from them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. No signs of foul play, just this eerie silence. And sadly, their dog was also gone. And just like that, an estate estimated at around $80 million became, as our sources put it, a legal mystery with no credits and no clue who gets what.
Right. And this raises the critical question, why? Why the chaos? Gene Hackman's will, which was signed way back in 2005, it explicitly left his entire estate to Betsy Arakawa. Simple enough, right?
Seems straightforward.
But here's the completely unexpected plot twist. Betsy actually predeceased him by just 1 week.
1 week.
1 week. And her will, in turn, had this specific clause. If Hackman died within 90 days of her, her assets would go to charity.
Wow. That's an incredible plot twist and so specific with the 90 days. So, okay, if Betsy passed first, even by just a week, and then Gene followed, what does that actually mean for the $80 million and, his children?
When you say the estate face intestate succession laws, for those of us not in the legal field, what does that practically mean for the Hackman family? Is it like the state just jumps in and writes your will for you?
That's basically it. Yeah,
That's-
exactly. Without an updated will from Gene or what we call clear contingent beneficiaries, essentially, named backups for who gets the assets if the first person isn't around.
Gotcha.
Backups.
Right. The estate falls under these government-mandated rules. Intestate succession. It's the default plan the law imposes if you don't have your own valid plan. And it very rarely aligns perfectly with personal wishes, especially in complex family situations like Gene's with step relationships and past estrangements. So this sequence of events, unfortunately, it just opens the door wide to potential disputes and, frankly, costly litigation for his children, even if they were the logical next of kin under those laws. The very silence and privacy they cultivated in life created a very loud, very public problem after death.
Okay, so you might be listening and thinking, well, I'm not a Hollywood celebrity. I don't have $80 million. Why should I care about this? But the thing is, the fundamental issues here, they really apply to everyone, whether it's an $80 million estate or, a family home that represents generations of memories, maybe just some cherished belongings. The core problem is identical: protecting your loved ones from avoidable stress, conflict, and, honestly, financial drain during what's already a really difficult time. This isn't about the size of your wealth. It's truly about peace of mind for those you leave behind.
Exactly. The core lesson here isn't just what happened, but that even the most private lives, maybe especially the most private lives, demand some public-facing planning to protect those left behind. This scenario just starkly highlights these critical estate planning pitfalls. I mean, even if you have clear intentions in your head, if the documents aren't current, they're not easily locatable. And crucially, if they don't account for unforeseen circumstances like, simultaneous death or a near simultaneous death.
Right, like this case.
A family can face immense confusion, conflict, and really costly legal battles. It truly makes you pause, doesn't it? That even after a lifetime spent carefully controlling your own narrative, the story can take this completely unexpected turn in death if you don't sort of write that final chapter yourself through proper planning.
Absolutely. So, okay, let's talk about what should have happened. And maybe more importantly, what you can do starting right now to make sure your legacy isn't some kind of family mystery thriller for your loved ones.
Okay, first off, a clear, up-to-date will. That's paramount. And this needs to be a proper, legally binding, notarized document. Something easy to locate, not just, a vague idea scribbled down or stuck somewhere in a desk drawer.
Yeah, the somewhere problem.
Right. Second, especially for couples, a backup plan for simultaneous death is just crucial. You need explicit instructions naming contingent beneficiaries for what happens if both spouses pass away close together. Not just everything to my spouse, period. You need the what if. And this naturally brings us to trusts. Something like a revocable living trust, for instance, could potentially have navigated this entire situation privately, completely avoiding probate court, avoiding that public scrutiny.
Explain that a bit more. How does a trust avoid probate?
Well, think of a trust as setting up a private, sort of pre-planned transfer system for your assets. When you put assets into the trust owns them, and you specify exactly who manages it and who benefits, both during your life and after. So unlike a will, which typically has to go through a public court process called probate, which can be lengthy and expensive, assets in the trust can usually pass directly and privately to your chosen beneficiaries according to the rules you set up in the trust document. It bypasses that court process for the assets held in the trust.
Okay, that makes sense. Private track versus public track.
Exactly. And finally, accessible executor instructions are just vital. Someone, your named executor or trustee, needs to know where the will and other documents are, who's in charge officially, and what the immediate next steps are, preferably before an obituary even gets published.
That's a really powerful point about avoiding probate and keeping things private with a trust. But realistically, what's the biggest hurdle you see? Even for someone who knows they need to do this, what stops them from actually getting it done? Is it just procrastination or like discomfort with the whole topic or maybe something else?
You know, it's often a mix, but largely, I think, is that discomfort facing mortality. Or sometimes it's the belief that it's just too complicated, or maybe only for the very wealthy.
Right.
But as this Hackman case just perfectly illustrates, complexity, real complexity, can arise from a lack of planning, not just from the size of the estate itself. Doing nothing is often the most complex option in the end.
That's a great way to put it. Okay, so for your practical real-life checklist, things you can do to avoid this kind of drama. Number one, make a will today. Seriously, this applies to everyone, whether you're protecting significant assets or family heirlooms, or maybe just ensuring your final wishes, say, for your dependents or even pets, are clearly understood. Number two, plan for what if we both go. Name those alternate beneficiaries. Name a backup executor or trustee. This is that crucial what if they're also gone plan we talked about. Number three, organize your documents. Get your will, your powers of attorney for finances and healthcare, any trust documents, account information. Put it all in one safe, accessible place. And please, please tell someone trustworthy exactly where that place is. Number four, update regularly. Life changes, right? If you've had major shifts, new kids, a new home, maybe a new spouse, significant purchases, divorce, even just a major change in relationship dynamics with beneficiaries, your plan probably needs a refresh. Don't set it and forget it. And number five, talk to your family. Yes, I know it's potentially an awkward conversation.
But trust me, it is far, far better to have a slightly awkward conversation now than for them to face a potential courtroom meltdown or just total confusion later on.
Absolutely. Ultimately, this whole story just reinforces that while privacy is valuable, it really shouldn't come at the cost of preparedness. Your family, they will still ask, where's the will and what's the plan if you pass unexpectedly? You can't be so private that you leave them in the dark.
Yeah. This deep dive, I think it really reveals that planning isn't about expecting the worst necessarily. It's more about respecting your family enough to make the aftermath, a little smaller, a little clearer, and just a lot less chaotic for them. Your goal should be to enable your family to focus on celebrating your life, remembering you, not untangling your legacy. Now, if this discussion has maybe sparked a desire in you to get your own affairs in order, well, you're in luck. Our expert today, Tina Jin, has put together a fantastic library of resources. You can explore her estate planning books. Titles include things like Dead Funny, The Estate Planning Survival Guide for the Living, Dividing the Pie, A Guide to Slicing Without the Sibling Squabble, another good one, Don't Let Your Will Be the Family Mystery Thriller, and even The Cat Gets the Couch, How to Leave Your Stuff Without Losing Your Mind. You can find all these titles very easily in Tina Jin's bookstore online.
And of course, for more in-depth discussions on emergency preparedness and these kinds of vital topics, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to our broadcasts. We're available on Spotify and YouTube. This specific exploration draws heavily on the themes from our episode 306.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, stay well informed and maybe take another look at those plans.
That's a wrap for today's chaos. If you learned something, laughed a little, or now feel slightly more prepared for life's curveballs, we've done our job. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel and follow us on social media. Catch us on Spotify, YouTube, and anywhere podcasts make you rethink your to-do list. Thanks for tuning in. And remember, if it's important and unexpected, we probably cover it. Stay safe, stay curious, and we'll see you next time.